I'm bioticbooty on Tumblr. You could also just call me Monica. Either way works. Yes, Kitty, you can come in. Yeah. I'm doing the Mass Effect voice meme because I saw it, and I saw it in time for once. I never see these in time. I hail from Oregon. You can tell because maybe you'll hear the jets. The air show is going on right now. It's pretty exciting. When did you first start playing Mass Effect? Which game in the trilogy did you start with? And how did you get into it? I started playing Mass Effect in 2007, November, when it came out. I played it on Xbox first. I actually bought the Xbox for Mass Effect and Bioshock at the time. I knew that I wanted to get Mass Effect pretty immediately. I got into it by reading the book Mass Effect Revelations, which came out that summer before Mass Effect 1 came out. And as soon as I had a gaming laptop in college, I had Mass Effect 1 on PC as well. So I've been playing it forever. Think about how many times that I replay the games and how long I've been playing the games, and you'll get kind of like a crazy idea of just how many playthroughs I've done. Console or PC? Both. For a while I was rocking Xbox, PC, and PS3, but I traded in my PS3 and sadly my copy of Mass Effect on it. Both. Do you enjoy playing Mass Effect 3 on multiplayer mode? Yes, I do. I've played a lot of Mass Effect multiplayer. I've played so much Mass Effect multiplayer that my Raptor reports often are like, just, you played 20 hours of multiplayer this week and 2 hours of this game and 3 of this game, so it's just one of those things I get caught up doing. Although I haven't played a lot recently, and I mostly play it on Xbox just because I have more friends to play with it on Xbox. So, do you prefer femshep or broshep? I prefer femshep. Aside from the fact that I've been in love with Jennifer Hale since Metal Gear Solid, I don't know. I think that oftentimes there's not enough female characters in that type of role that are distinguished, such as Commander Shepard, because there's no difference really between broshep and femshep, so she's treated largely the same as dudeshep, and you know, she's got the full armor and it covers her body, and she's a respectable leader, and I really enjoy that BioWare gave us that option. Although Mark Muir is really hilarious, and I'm not discounting dudeshep because dudeshep is pretty great. State your Shepard's full name and list any nicknames he or she has. I have 4 Shepards, so I guess I'll just go with my main Shepard. Her name is Olivia Juliet Shepard. She goes by, her best friend calls her Liv, but most people just call her Olivia or Shepard. Her dad used to call her Olive, along with her little sister when she was younger. Your Shepard's personality, history, psych profile, and class. She is a colonist, war hero, infiltrator. Tech all the way, and infiltration and hitting things really hard. What does she look like? Here's a screenshot. What I had in mind when I sort of started writing her, which was after I'd already created her in the character creator, but it kind of worked and I redid her a little bit after that, when I redesigned her, was sort of Zoe Deschanel a bit. Not as soft, it's hard to get all the features because the character creator in Mass Effect is a bit limited. So you can't, like, I always envision her with a bit of the longer, narrower face that Zoe Deschanel has, but still like a battle-hardened version of her that's kind of scarred and a bit more serious and lonely a little, unfortunately. That's kind of what I have in mind when I write her. Definitely the hair, because you can't have long hair in the games, but Olivia actually has hair that's all the way down to her waist, so I wish I could put that in the game. Briefly explain any Mass Effect headcanons you have for your Shepard's origins. I can't do that. That question is unreasonable, and I refuse to answer on those grounds. You can peruse the Olivia Shepard tag for all of the massive amounts of headcanons I have for her, because there are many. and briefly explaining them is just not possible. So, next. What is your Shepard's favorite armor? Customizable or not? I guess in the first game, she really likes the Colossus armor, but she hates that it's orange, so she actually has it sort of modified a bit for her. So that's, I had canon that it's a black and a silver version, because that's what she prefers, because infiltrating is easier when you're not wearing something that's bright fucking orange. So, and that was before Alliance soldiers had tack cloaks. So, yeah, the bright orange doesn't work for her very much. And so she changes the colors. And, I mean, why would you wear bright orange on your armor? Like, come on. Like, if you're trying to sneak into a base, it's like you might as well wear an orange coat on your head and say, hey, look, here I am. Okay, so in ME2, she goes a bit for the Kestrel armor pieces, but she mixes and matches with the N7 armor a bit, because she's trying to stay true to her roots a little, but she can't really pass up good tech, and the Kestrel armor is just good tech for her. But she likes the N7 aspect of the gauntlets and stuff, because she's been she feels ripped away a bit from everything that she knew, and she's suddenly in this new place and like honor bound sort of to complete this mission after finding out what's actually going on, and that Cerberus really is unfortunately the best organization to help her tackle this problem head on without stonewalling her at every turn and trying to keep her from doing stuff. And I think that's partly, well, I won't go into that, but so yeah, in ME2 she's the basic N7 armor that Cerberus provides for her, mixed with some of the Kestrel armor, although she does like the headpiece that has the piece that comes down, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it right now. But she really likes that because it helps her with the sniping, because she is a sniping gal. In the third game, she pretty much just stays with her standard N7 armor because she's back in the Alliance, and she's like, fuck yeah, like, where I belong. And at that time, she wears it Alliance blue, mostly with like some either black or silver highlights. And she will argue to her grave that even though it's Alliance blue, and blue is not an infiltration color, that it blends in well with dark surroundings, and that it doesn't matter anyways because she has her tack cloak. What color is your Shepard's armor? I guess I kind of answered that already in the previous question. Spell color. COLOR. I unfortunately do not live in the UK or Canada, where you can get away with putting a U in things and not have people think that you're crazy. Does your Shepard wear a helmet most of the time? Which kind and why? I always saw the helmets as kind of necessary. In ME1, I never wore them for screenshot purposes, but I always, in my fan fiction at least, I always write that the whole ground team wears the helmets, because like it just makes sense. Like, why would you leave? It's armor. Why would you leave your head exposed? And I always just thought it was weird a bit, like how you could go from not having a helmet on your person to suddenly having a helmet, like in Mars, where you can choose to not have your helmet visible. And I understand totally that's from a player's standpoint, but from a real life making sense standpoint, like where the fuck are they putting their helmets? Like when they get in that elevator and you're arguing with Kaden Alenko or Ashley Williams and like taking off your helmet, it just goes away. Like, does it collapse? Does it disappear? Is there like a pocket of holding in your armor? Because I'd be all over that tech. But no, so I always argue that they do have those. Although I personally prefer the Archon. Archon? I say Archon. I've heard people say Archon. I don't know. Archon? Visor, the orange one with the things that go down, and just since they have those breathers that have the like sort of kinetic barrier style thing that goes over the face, I headcanon that in the game it just goes from that to a fucking helmet, but I headcanon that it actually has a breather apparatus that opens up and that it connects to the armor and the oxygen line in the back. So I make slight changes, but I really love that visor. I mean, it is just really, it's great. That's the other one that Olivia wears in the second game, but I couldn't get it till pretty late in the game, so I headcanon as well that Olivia can't get it till pretty late in the game. Or at least the first time I got it was pretty late in the game, so I just go with that. I get into my role plays, okay? Role playing is serious business. List or describe your shepherd's personality in exactly 5 words. Okay, I can't even do this for Thess, for Alexis. Like, I'm still stuck on this, so I don't even know how I'm supposed to do it right now, but I'll give it a shot. She is, okay, 5 words. It says 5 words, not adjectives, so I guess I can use anything I want to. Proficient, geeky, sneaky, quiet, humorous. If you played the romances, who is your love interest in all 3 games? Kaden Alenko. Like, it's in the URL, bioticbooty. Although I guess I could go for Miranda, who is also one of my other shepherds, love of the life. But 3 of my shepherds, romance, Kaden Alenko, and Kaden Alenko only, and there's no other choice. Why do you, the player, like this love interest the best? Is it different from why your shepherd does? That's like a thesis, so we're just going to very briefly say that Kaden Alenko is just a very intriguing person. He's very quiet, sort of. He's controlled and subdued a bit, but he has a fantastically dry and witty sense of humor that just completely surprised me in the first game. Like, I wasn't expecting it. He has the voice of an angel. He has the butt of a god. And he's not afraid to stand up to Shepard. And I think that's something that sometimes writers are afraid to put into a game because they don't want to alienate the player too much, I guess. But he and alongside him, Williams, are the only people in the game that really stand up to Shepard and will say no to Shepard and turn their back on Shepard. And I think that's pretty amazing that someone would stand for their ideals like that, even when they love that person so much that it hurts. So that's what I really look for in a person. And likewise, that's what Olivia really appreciates about him. Although she really just appreciates, like, she falls for him for a different reason because they have a similar sense of humor and bond over this being the nerd in the corner and lurking in the shadows, sitting on their Omnitool kind of thing. But, yeah. That wasn't brief at all, I'm sorry. Can't imagine the not brief version. Okay. If you couldn't romance your favorite love interest and you weren't allowed to leave your shepherd single, who would you pick as an alternative ally? I'm assuming this is for Olivia. Thane? I think Thane would, I mean, he doesn't really have the humor that Caden does. It would also probably kill her because of the ending to that romance. Describe the love interest in exactly 5 words. Describe Caden Alinko in 5 words is basically what you're saying. I skipped this question. Oops. Wow. Describe Caden in 5 words. Okay. Witty. Stubborn. I see him as geeky, but I know not a lot of people do, but I mean, he's a sentinel and he's all about the tech and he argues on the tools with Tally, so I see him as sort of geeky. Reserved. That's 4 now? I think that's 4. Handsome. Really, really handsome. Who is your shepherd's best friend? Canonically, or I guess head canonically, my shepherd's best friend is this person that I made up, and her name is Cassie Black. She's actually written partially by my best friend, who goes by Cassie Black on Tumblr and Cassandra Black on fanfiction.net. We actually came up with this idea of a best friend for her together, for Olivia, and she helps me to keep the character's voice true, and it's really fun. And I do the same thing for her. I have a character I sort of help her write that is her shepherd's best friend. But that's a different story, I guess. I guess though, if I were to pick best friends out of the cast of the games, in the first game, her best friend out of the crew, I would say is probably a tie between Caden and Williams. So imagine how much Vermeer really sucks for her, I guess. In the second game, it's actually Joker who becomes her best friend because, you know, Caden's not there and she can't find him, and then when she does, it's all kinds of heartbreak and understandable, but that doesn't make it hurt any less, and it doesn't make the words sting any less. And when she's angry, it doesn't make her any more rational about it. But, yeah, Joker steps up to the plate, I guess, for her in the second game. And then near the end, her and Miranda actually start developing a solid friendship. And then by the third game, her best friend is this big posse of people that it's probably the first time in her life that she's had more than 1 or 2 really close friends. What is your your favorite mission, including DLCs, to play out of all 3 games? I actually wrote a post about this a while ago, but my favorite mission, I guess it was for ME2, but I think this was prior to ME3 coming out, but I think it still stands true. My favorite mission is Project Overlord, just because of how big it is and how vast it is, and just the music in it kills me, and it just felt like a really complete, really wholesome DLC to me, and I just really, really loved it. And I won't reiterate all the points that I made. I will link to the post, I guess, but yeah, Project Overlord for the second game. If I had to pick one for each game, I guess the Cerberus-based ones with Admiral Kahoku that lead to Cerberus Hades dogs. I really liked that storyline. It sets up Cerberus in such a sinister way, and then when you go into the second game and you're working with Cerberus, it was just a complete mindfuck for me the first time. I was like, are you kidding me? These people that did these horrible things and then killed this admiral? I guess in the third game, that's really tough. No, it's not. Citadel DLC. I really liked the third game all the way up until the last 10 minutes, but Citadel DLC all the way is just, I had actually talked with my best friends pretty extensively about how we thought BioWare had missed an opportunity with having a clone Shepard. And then when Citadel DLC came out, and I guess spoilers, when Citadel DLC came out and Shepard had a clone, like, I can't even begin to describe how I felt at that moment when I was like, I guess that kind of explains it pretty well, but I was pretty amazed when I was last gross, and I was like fist pumping, like, and I absolutely loved that, the clone, now known as Jane throughout the rest of this video, that she didn't have the same memories as Shepard, that like not everything crossed over, and that the handprints were different because in identical twins have different handprints, so that they didn't have that, and that she was this woman in Shepard's body created for spare parts, and like that whole like psychology around that. I felt like they really dealt really well with that whole thing, and the DLC was pretty amazing. And then all the extra 4 hours of stuff after you complete the mission was also pretty great. Which mission is your least favorite and why? I gotta say Pharos. Pharos is probably my least favorite out of all 3 games. It is really, really long. It's tedious. I don't know. I guess like in the second game, like they were going for that whole play a mission, and it's only been like 45 minutes, but and I do tend to like my missions longer, but Pharos just felt too long for me, I guess, and a little too bland for how long it was. I'm not saying that the whole mission was bland, like I still overall think it was a pretty great mission. And when I say my least favorite, I still mean like least favorite out of like, wow, I still love this. But yeah, Pharos is just a little tedious. And with ME1 gameplay now, whenever I go back and play that, that's the mission I look forward to the least. If I have to pick one for each game, for the second game, I would say probably Freedom's Progress. Yeah, Freedom's Progress. It's an opening mission, I know. Well, sort of. It's like the first mission you really get, aside from, hey, get out of this station that's on fire. But, yeah. I don't know. It didn't feel sinister enough to me, I guess, for what I wanted it to be, and for the reaction that I would expect to get out of Olivia in order to make her work with Cerberus. It wasn't all there. Yeah. And then on the third game, probably Thessia, and not because you lose, but because the fight with Kai Ling just feels really stupid. Like, he's supposed to be this N7 operative that's like really amazing and really hard and like super like fucking like just I'm gonna kill you, and I did not get that from him at all. Like, they didn't make him challenging enough, I feel like, and maybe that's, I don't know terribly a lot about programming that kind of stuff in a game. I've been to talks and I imagine it's really difficult, but Kai Ling did not live up to like the standards of what he was built up to be. I don't know, like that fight was like, you would take him down to no shields, and then like he's like, his gunship comes out and it's let him recharge his shields to get shot by the gunship, and you couldn't shoot the gunship. Like, it was just, it felt like a cheap way to make him a hard boss to beat instead of making him a hard boss to beat. He was not a hard boss to beat. If you had to be one of the Mass Effect aliens, which one would you pick and why? I would not make a very good Turian, so I would not pick a Turian. Asari would be kind of fun, but I don't know. The natural biotics would be fun. That would be pretty cool. We never got to see what a female Drell really looked like, but I really did kind of like and enjoy the Drell as a species. Likewise, we don't know what female Volus or Elcor look like. Corians would be fun. Living in a suit though would kind of suck. I'm all about touching things and interacting with the environment, so I guess out of all those options, I'm probably going to pick either Drell or Asari. Maybe Asari, just because I think having blue skin and black eyes that I could change would be really cool, and I really dig the fringe. If I could be a bad Turian, I'd probably pick Turian. I don't know, that didn't really answer the question. If you had to be any of the NPCs in the game, which would you choose? I would choose Samantha Trainer because I absolutely adore her and I think she's really hilarious and funny and just she's way better at being the sort of yeoman that Kelly Chambers wasn't. And she just cracks me up every time I talk to her. She just makes me laugh, except for when it's supposed to be serious. Briefly explain your silliest or strangest headcanon. I assume this means for my shepherd still, so for Olivia, my silliest headcanon is the soup. The soup that Mrs. Alenko makes, Caden's mom, whenever someone is sick, and when Olivia first has it, she's absolutely convinced that it's made of metagel and magic because it just makes her feel so much better, and it's just amazing. And so whenever she's sick, she wants the soup, and whenever Caden's sick, she offers to help him make the soup, and it's completely useless, of course, not because she can't cook, but because she's just caught up in this idea of the soup, like just being this thing, it's the soup. Yeah, that's probably, you could find that in the tags too. Briefly explain your post-ME3 headcanons. Okay, again with the brief here. I can't. Because one, that's not possible to be brief about. And two, spoilers, I haven't gotten there with Olivia yet, and I know I've like put some things out there and like people could probably infer sort of some things that happen, but they don't know all the things that happen. They don't know the changes that I make. They don't know all these things. So no, I will not explain this thing, and you can't make me. No amount of asks in my box or fan mail or like reblogs or replies to my posts will make me tell you all the things about this question. Shut it down. And that's it. I think I got all the questions, which I didn't actually intend to do, but here I am, and it's been recording for quite a while now, so I'm gonna edit this thing together. Goodbye. Goodbye.